Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and I've got a bit of a confession to make. I know the game's been out since 2010, but I just played Caravan for the first time, and I learned I actually wasn't alone on that, but what was more fascinating, I'm gonna deflect here, is that a lot of you don't know how to play. I saw so many tweets saying, how do you even play that? I don't believe you. And so you know what? I looked at some tutorials online. I looked at New Vegas's tutorial. Like, who's got time for this? What is this? This is so much text for something that is so simple. I realized everybody's galaxy braining Fallout New Vegas Caravan. And I thought, you know what? I'm the guy for the job. So today, I'm gonna teach you how to play Caravan. Yeah, it's 9 years late, but hey, better late than never. You can go back to one of your favorite games ever, and now you'll know how to play this card game. And it's actually quite fun, I will say. So it's obvious for most of us who have played New Vegas countless times that many people are interested in playing Caravan. You'll meet people who will challenge you to games, and have fun, play anyone you want, really, doesn't matter. Except Keith. Oh, Keith. I'm gonna turn your ass in.
Come quietly now. I don't want to have to hurt you.
Why don't you go cry to your wife then? Oh, that's right. She left your worthless stinking ass.
You son of a bitch!
Things are getting stranger every day.
Okay, so I didn't like the guy, but it seems a bit overkill, I'm not gonna lie. Oh my God. So these people that you can play Caravan with, whether you knock them out and you loot them or you decide to trade with them, they have cards that you can add to your deck. Now, in Caravan, I think the most simple way of approaching it is pretty much that you just want even ratios, because you're gonna have a ton of playing cards, each from a number of suits, and you just wanna make sure your ratios are high enough where you're seeing certain card counts consistently, because you wanna build, for example, a row of diamonds, a row of spades, and a row of hearts. Now, the way it works, and the game explains it, is that you are a caravan, and each section is a caravan that's trying to travel to its destination, and then when it gets there, it's selling. Forget that. Forget that. That's flavor. You don't need that to understand the game, because that's right where people start to get confused. They're like, why is it called Caravan? What is the Caravan? These are playing cards. All I'm gonna say is this: if you need the flavor, treat the cards you're placing down as a pathway, okay? And that'll be useful when I start explaining how certain cards work. So as I said, make sure your ratios are good. For me, when you get that first starter deck from Ringo, I slimmed it down to about 49 cards from there, so that you weren't seeing so many different options, but instead just a little bit of everything. And normally you'd have what you needed. Now make sure you have a lot of face cards. These are your jacks, kings, queens, your ace, your joker. Each of these has special abilities that you can use that really turn the tide of the game, and that your opponent can use in very frustrating ways, which we'll use against them. Let's start off what I think is the most simple to understand, which is the king. When you place a king down on top of a card in a Caravan, it essentially repeats that number. So you put down a 9, and then you put down a king on top of that. Guess what happens? Those are now 2 9s, you're up to 18. To win a game of Caravan, each of your lanes has to hit between 21 and 26. At least 2 out of these 3 before your opponent lands there. If you beat them there, you win the game. You earn a ton of caps depending on how much you bet. I mean, heck, I won almost 1,000 caps in a game, and I was going in cold after not playing for a couple of weeks. So once you get it down, it's sort of easy to figure it all out. Now here's the thing with the king though, you don't have to double your own number every time, right? You can screw over your opponent on the other side of the board by laying down a king on one of their cards and pushing their number way past what their Caravan needs to be. Now they'll need the next most useful card, which is a jack. Now a jack can be played once again on both sides of the board, and this essentially removes a card. You place it down on a 10 of spades, and you remove that 10 of spades. That's exactly how it works. It's a removal card. So maybe your opponent puts a king card on top of one of yours, you're exceeding that limit that your Caravan has, put down a jack on your end, remove it. Or on their end to maybe lower their number to give you an advantage. So there's a lot of strategy there, and that's why it becomes really fun. Like, I've enjoyed going into New Vegas just to play Caravan, and I was very, very surprised about that. Now this is where things get complicated, and we're gonna go into our lanes example, right? Because we have the queen. Essentially, the queen is what I'd consider a soft reset. So there are times in the game where you'll be what I'd say stalling out, where maybe you have a 10 of spades, a 5 of spades, and you just need 6 more, but you can't get that 6 of spades, but you have a queen in your hands. Essentially, you can put down a queen and it starts a brand new path. So you can start laying down different suits on top of that already pre-structured lane. So that's why I say it's almost a path of thought. If you think of them as caravan lanes, then picture the caravan when you put down a queen going into a different road to get to the objective. At that point in time, it's just about adding numbers up. That's simple. Anyone can do that. It's just about understanding what these cards do. Now there's the ace, which is pretty much a +1, and then a joker, which if you lay down on top of an ace, it'll actually remove everything of that suit. So let's say you have an ace of spades on top of a 10 of spades and a 5 of spades. It'll remove all the spades on top of that ace. Ultimately, I never used the Joker card. Once again, I think this boils down to galaxy braining because you really don't need it as far as I'm concerned. I've won plenty of games, plenty of caps. When I've lost, it's been minimal, but when I've won, it's been a lot, and I never once used a Joker to define a game. Still, maybe it's a useful tool, run a 1 of, and keep it simple. But ultimately, these face cards are the most important parts of your deck. Now you can go around, you can trade with people and get bonus cards for your deck that maybe will round things out, make things a little bit better. I've seen like deck profiles online for this game, and as someone who plays a lot of Dragon Ball Super, the card game, like every single week for the last, I think, year and a half, I'm obsessed with card games. So I was like really into this, and it makes me hope that, at least at this point in time when I record this, it does not exist, but that the Outer Worlds gets some type of card game because they reference that a lot inside that universe. And I think it would be really, really, really cool if they actually added something in there. But anyway, once you get Caravan down, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think it's as complex as it seems to be. I think having a wall of text inside your Pip-Boy, once again, no one's got time for this. Even the most hardcore players, instant interest lost. You can live without it. It's completely optional, but still, it's a good way to farm caps, right? Like you can get rich super, super fast. And I remember seeing some items in New Vegas when I was replaying it yet again for a stream. And I was thinking to myself, you know, these are things I've never bought before, and I wonder how you get the money for them. Once I started playing Caravan, I started gambling more in the casino. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I've messed around with gambling in the casino, but Caravan, you can cash out, okay? Like I went to Novak and played No Bark, and I took like 800 caps from this guy and just walked away. Little Buster, this guy tries to act tough. Listen to what he says.
I'm all for risking my life, but I'm a little sensitive about my asshole.
Not sure what that has to do with the card game, but yeah, took his money too. You can take everyone's money, and that's what's great about this game. You can barter your way into these types of games, and I gotta say, I'm loving it. And it's awesome to have discovered something new that you actually really like about a game all these years later. And what's kind of sad about it on the other side is it's because I was ignorant and I just sort of ignored it. And hey, if the video game doesn't do the trick for you, you can always take out cards in real life and those might help. So we've got ourselves some playing cards here. What? Don't you judge me, man? What? This is cool. You can't find these for sale online. You realize that, right? Like, you're judging me, but these are a rare commodity. You can't just find 2003 Ninja Turtle trading cards. This is the best rendition of the Turtles. Thank you very much. Come again. Anyway, let's crack these open. Okay, because we're on a budget, what we're doing to separate our lanes is using the trading card box on its side. So this is our left lane, this is our middle, this is our right. Okay, so what we're looking at here is our opening hand. We have 8 club, 7 club, 3 of spade, 6 diamond, 8 diamond, 2 diamond, okay? So when the game actually starts up, you can't, for example, put this 8 club down and then put this 7 right on top of it because that sort of creates an imbalance because you can just accelerate if your hand's full of clubs. You can just accelerate to, if you had 2 10s right in the beginning of the game, to almost 21 right off the bat. That's not gonna be good for the balance of the game. So you have to fill one with a different symbol for each one, or suit, sorry. So for example, we put the 8 down first, then we put an 8 of diamond down for this middle lane, and now all we have left is this 3 of spades. So that's why you wanna be careful with what you start off first, because you can start off high in one area but low in another. Keep in mind you can discard cards, and mind you, with every move you're making, you're drawing. So we'll replace these 3, which would give us a jack, a 2 of hearts, and an ace diamond, which really doesn't give us a lot to work with here, because now this is where the building process comes with. So we look at our hand here, we got 7 club, 6 diamond, 2 diamond, a jack, which is really helpful because, for example, if we needed to remove something and our opponent's going too fast, you just put it down on their end, remove whatever that is. We have a 2 of hearts and an ace diamond. So ultimately, right now, our best move would probably be to lay down the 7 on top of Leonardo. And so now we're at 15 there, and we draw a card again. Now we got 5 for that. Now, you don't want to focus too hard on one side because then you just, whoopsies, keep building it up. So at this point, we'd be at 20. Probably because we're playing a computer, they'll notice that. If this thing could stay on its end, geez. But the computer will probably notice that, take advantage. So at this point, now we have a good draw because maybe they'll remove the 8, right? The highest card with a jack. So now we're at 12 there, but then the balance plays. Do you keep, oh my God, this is such a mess. Do you keep playing on this end, or do you, for example, take this 10 and put it under or on top of the 3? And you just keep going like that. So ultimately, it's not as complex as it looks. It's just matching these symbols and then laying cards on top of them. Now, let's say, for example, I had a queen in my hand. We'll see if we can find one in here. There she is, April O'Neil, the queen. So we're stalling out, for example, and we need to get this guy going right here. Let's say we had a 2 of spades in hand, and we just need to get things rolling. Now, this would not be smart because once you lay down the queen, and then I start off with spades, from 2, I can only count down to 1. So all I can add is just 1 on top of this. That's the one complex part about the queen. So whatever number you're starting at, for example, we'd want this 5 to start because then we could do 5, then 2, right? So that's what you want to do. Now, if you had another queen in hand, you could just lay it down on top of that, say that is a queen, and then start off with hearts and just keep going out that way. But that's obviously not the most optimal way. So there's a lot of strategy to this game, but ultimately it's not as complex as I think it's been made out to be. So hopefully you found this this real life tutorial where I can actually use my hands, put them on the cards, a little more helpful than actually showing you the gameplay. I think the real life cards help the understanding ultimately. And there's the Joker card. 1 of in this deck. Just leave it be. You don't need it. So ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this video helpful. Maybe you've discovered something brand new about this game that you've loved for so many years, that you've paraded around celebrating Obsidian's wonderful achievements, yet you didn't play the card game. Hey, guilty as charged. It's okay, we've all been there. So if you learned something new, let me know. And also, do you like Caravan? Are you like me? Do you think you're cashing out every time you're playing? Do you enjoy the nice little bit of strategy in there? I was surprised how well thought out it is. And what's cool is, as I mentioned earlier with the real playing cards, you could play this in real life with someone if you wanted to. You'd have to get some additional playing cards on top of it, but still, it's really fun for what it is, and I enjoyed it. So ultimately, long overdue tutorial, more of a joke video, but I just saw way too many comments telling me that, hey, I don't know how to play this, so I got you guys covered. Don't say I don't love you. Anyway, that'll do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below as I've requested. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. And if you enjoyed this hike in production, then do consider supporting the Patreon as it fuels all the content I create here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.